Was there?
Fly.
Oh my gosh, look at this. Okay, well, we'll have to edit that out. Awesome. You brought a fly in with you today. What the heck? Okay, hold on.
It's gonna be in the outtakes at the end of it.
I know, exactly. That came from the buffalo. I know, nice.
Hi, my name is Jane Orlov. I'm here with Michael Hellickson, a super successful guy. So we're gonna start rolling the interview, and we're gonna talk about the book later, but I just want to start with you for people who don't know who you are. Could you introduce yourself? I'm not too good at edifying, so that's my flaw.
No problem. No, that's great. So yeah, my name is Michael Hellickson, and I own a company called Virtual Assistant Staffing. We help people hire really talented individuals for all kinds of things, from bookkeeping to telemarketing to executive assistants, web development and design. And these folks come from all over the world, and they're truly the most talented people in the world. So that's what I do now. For 20 years, I was one of the top real estate agents in the country, and had a great time with that during our 20-year career. But very happy to be doing what I'm doing now.
Okay, so I made a video actually, and I tagged you in the Facebook how I met you.
Oh.
It was like about the law of attraction. And okay, so could you tell us when you started real estate? You went through the roof, like you were one of the top agents. And what was your secret? I mean, a lot of people, I saw some of your videos and you say, oh, people ask me this and people ask me that. And so could you cover a little bit about how would people become successful in any field, not just real estate, but what were your secrets in the real estate?
Well, in real estate specifically, the three keys, and really this applies to any business, there's three things you have to do in any business to succeed. There's lead generation, lead follow-up, and lead conversion. Mm-hmm. And those are, bar none, the three most important things in every business. If you don't have leads, it doesn't matter how great your service is, you won't be able to take care of anybody because there will be nobody to take care of. Mm-hmm. And if you don't follow up with those leads, they won't become clients eventually, and you won't even have a chance to convert them. And so it's lead generation, lead follow-up, and lead conversion. So I structured my business so that those three things were the most important things that I did all day long. Once I got that figured out, I realized, okay, now I've got to learn to delegate, and I've got to make sure that I've got a team of people helping me do things so that's not just me all the time. So I began building a team, and eventually we grew our team to about 44 people. Okay. And man, I gotta tell you, once we got cranking, we ramped it up to about 100 transactions a month, and we're going great guns. But go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was just wondering. So what were your secrets in building the follow-up? Can you share a little bit of your about leads?
Yeah, one of the keys to follow up with leads is not being lazy about how you do it. A lot of people, they just want to follow up via email, and they have what's called call reluctance. Mm-hmm. And you've got to get over that call reluctance. You've got to get relational with people. Too often we're very transactionally oriented. It's all about, well, go to my website, buy my product, and use your credit card, but I don't want to have to connect with you. I don't want to have a relationship with you. I just want it to work, and I just get paid. Well, that's never been my philosophy. I've always been a believer that you want to provide a high level of customer service, really get to know your clients, take care of them at a high level. To do that, you got to get voice to voice with them. You've got to build that relationship. And so I do a lot of calling, and I have a team of people that do a lot of calling. I actually have people on my team, their entire job is setting appointments for myself and for my sales team. Mm-hmm. So that all we do all day long is every half hour on the half hour we have appointments set for us, ready to go. Mm-hmm. We did the same thing in the real estate business, where you want to go from appointment to appointment to appointment with qualified prospects that want to hear your message. Okay.
Were you always good on the phone, or kind of you developed the skill?
I think everybody has to develop that skill at some point. I mean, there's people that are natural at it. I probably wasn't one of them. I was like anybody else. I don't prefer to get on the phone and call people that aren't expecting to hear from me. But it's part of doing business. And if you want to be successful, you're gonna have to talk to people.
So you learned it, right?
Yeah.
You said, so how did you learn it? What?
Just doing it. Here's the thing. I'm one of those guys that just believes that, what you've heard the old Nike phrase, and I think Nike actually stole it from somebody else, but the phrase "just do it." Mm-hmm. And I really think that's what it's all about. It's too easy to say, well, first I got to go to a class, then I got to read a book, then I got to listen to a tape course, then I got to role play, then I got to practice some more. Look, just pick up the phone. You know, and the easiest way to do it, start by calling people that already know you. Start by calling people that already like you, your current clients, your past clients, your friends, your family. You know, just get in the habit of dialing the phone and actually talking with people.
Okay, but then do you do cold calls, or you kind of warm them up with your videos, or?
Yes, we are fortunate. We've got a lot of leads coming in, and so we don't have to do any cold calling. There was a time where I did a lot of cold calling, and cold calling can work. It can be effective. Now, when your business develops to a certain point, two things will happen. One, you'll get to a point where you can hire somebody else to do the cold calling for you.
Okay.
And you'll also get to a point where you have so many leads coming in that now it's just a warm call. It's, you know, somebody's reached out to you, they've raised their hand, they said, hey, I'm interested. Now you're following up with them by phone just to tell them a little bit more about your product or service. And it's a very warm call at that point.
But how did you grow up to that huge amount of leads coming in?
Just a lot of blood, sweat, and tears. I mean, just really hitting the phones and doing everything. It's a commitment to lead generation. The first thing I did was I made lead generation my #1 priority in my business.
And where did you get them?
Everywhere. Internet, phone. I did a lot of radio and TV advertising. You know, in the real estate business, we had, you know, signs all over the place with our name on it. We put flyers in the flyer boxes. Just everywhere you can get signs. We'd call our past clients up. We do a lot of business by referral. So we would do client events. You know, like we'd rent out a movie theater and we would take 250 of our clients to go see Ice Age or Ice Age 2 or something. And
okay, so intensifying.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
But like, what would your tips be for people who just like start, not in real estate, but in entrepreneurial world? Like they just start and they're, oh my gosh, they're scared of the phone. You said, okay, just go do it. What about leads? Like if they don't have a lot of funds to start advertising there and here and everywhere, so.
You don't need money. And that's the nice thing about picking up the phone. The phone's free, right? I mean, you've already got a phone.
Right, but who do you call? I mean, where do you get to?
Start by calling everybody you know. The first thing you're going to do is, and I don't care if you're in network marketing, real estate, you know, if you're an infopreneur, it doesn't matter what business you're in, start by calling the people you know. Tell them about your business and ask them who they know that you should get to know or that you should be talking to. Look for industry events in that particular niche and start going to those industry events. And when you're there, meet everybody. Get everybody's business card. Come back home and call every single person that you met at that event and start striking up conversations. You know, on our current business, I went from 0 affiliate partners to over 850 affiliate partners in just 10 months. And the way I did that was by going to the industry events, figuring out who the players are, getting to know everyone, and making sure I followed up with them after the event. Because that's one thing nobody ever does. Nobody ever follows up after the event.
Ray Higdon actually says, I don't give out my cards, I pick everybody else's and I call them. So that's, and actually Ray is your affiliate, Ray Higdon,
right.
Because my viewers know who Ray is. So, but,
oh, that's right, yeah, Ray's a great guy, and he is one of our affiliates. So. Right.
And that's how I saw you. I mentioned in the video I got Ray's product, and then there's 40 hours of free virtual assistant. So I looked at your video, and then I never actually got to it until we met a couple of days ago on the airplane.
That's funny.
But that was law of attraction.
It's amazing how that happens. It's like John, you know John Assaraf. John's one of the guys that wrote The Secret.
Oh, okay.
John's a great guy, and he talks about how, you know, when he was putting up his vision board, he had this house. You know, he cut out this picture of this house and stuck it on the, you know, this really nice mansion, beautiful house, and he stuck that on his vision board. And you know, time went by, and his vision board ended up, you know, they moved a couple of times, and so his vision board went in the closet, and it went into shipping, and then eventually. He digs this thing up. You know, he's moved like 3 times at this point. He's in his newest house, and you know, he's in a big nice house now, and he pulls out his vision board out of storage and he looks at it, and oh my gosh, that photo wasn't just of a really nice house. It was actually the house that he was in, that he had purchased, and it just was like the law of attraction. You know, you put it out there. You know, if you say this is what I'm going to attract, it happens, for better or for worse. You're going to attract good or bad. You got to decide what that is by your attitude. So.
Right. Did you always believe in the law of attraction, or it's going to be developed?
Well, you call it. You know, everybody calls it something different. You know, call it the law of attraction, call it karma, call it what goes around comes around. You know, whatever. But at the end of the day, I've always believed that you really do need to spread good things out there. You know, when you give it out in slices, it comes back in loaves, you know, kind of that attitude. And, you know, sometimes it doesn't happen when we expect it. Sometimes it doesn't happen how we expect it, but, you know, it happens. And so you just, and I, you know, we're very religious, and I truly believe that God helps those who help themselves. You know, if you want to accomplish great things in your life, take steps to do it. Act like it all depends on you, and pray like it all depends on God.
Okay, but then you met like Robert Allen and Brian Tracy, and they all teach about this positive thinking, law of attraction. Do you have a vision board yourself?
You know, currently I don't have a vision board up, and I need to get one back up.
Did you have one?
I've had vision boards most of my life. Yeah, I've been a big believer in vision boards. We actually did them with the kids recently, and I just didn't get a chance to get mine put together. I was busy helping them. So.
Okay. Okay, but then you kind of hit the momentum and you said, okay, enough is enough, right?
Yeah, you know, it's funny. More is great. You know, it's always great to strive to accomplish more and do more. And I've got to be honest, you know, I'm in a very good place in my life. You know, I'm very fortunate. I have 2 wonderful kids. I work a 3-day week. I get to spend a lot of time with my family. I get a lot of time to myself. And I used to be that guy that I have to have more all the time, and it's always about how far can I take it, and I'm just not there in my life right now. Right now I'm just kind of enjoying where I'm at, and you know, I've got another probably 8 years, maybe 9 years that the kids will be in the house, and you know, assuming we can get them out and get them into the world there. But you know, I'm just going to enjoy that time, and when they move out, maybe we'll get a little more serious about growth again. So. Okay.
Could you cover a little bit about, since we're on that law of attraction thing going, how did you meet like Brian Tracy and Robert Allen? And you have a book with Robert Allen, so.
You know, it's funny. I actually met Brian at Bob's house. You know, we're just Bob was introduced to me by a gentleman named Dave Van Hoos, who's a very good friend of mine, great guy. Powerful speaker. He teaches speakers how to be better speakers, and so he was holding an event at Bob's house one day, and I was invited to attend, and that's actually where I met John Asraf as well at that event. Well, then Bob and I started to get to know each other. We were in a mastermind group together and got to be good friends. And one day I'm hanging out at Bob's house, and here comes Brian Tracy. And Brian just shows up, and so you know, we're talking with Brian, and I got to tell you, I always love to share this story because, you know, Bob and Brian are both family men, and they're both very serious about their families, as am I, and they both got their priorities very well in order, as does John, by the way. And I was asking Brian that day, you know, we were sitting down at lunch and just having a little conversation about, you know, how do you manage that? Because you're always pulled in all these different directions. Everybody wants Brian and Bob and all these guys on their stage, and if they wanted to, they could be on stage every day of the week. And I asked him, I said, so how do you manage that? How do you keep your family in balance? And the reason, and this started with, my favorite quote is, no success in the world can compensate for failure in the home. So we were talking about that quote, and he says, well, Michael, he says, you know, years ago, my wife came to me one day, and she says, Brian, you're done traveling on the weekend. And he thought to himself, well, I have 2 choices. I can stay happily married, or not. And that was the last time he traveled on the weekend. And so he says, you know what, my family's more important to me than being gone on the weekend and making, you know, that extra money that maybe I could have made by traveling on the weekends. And so.
But I mean, when you're that successful, you don't need that extra money, right?
Well, here's the thing. It seems like nobody ever feels like they have enough. And that's what, you know, and don't get me wrong, I mean, no matter how much money you have, it's kind of like if you're not moving forward, you're moving backwards. You know, you're slipping back, and if you don't take care, it's like the story of the talents in the Bible, right? You know, if you just bury your talents, it's not good either. And so it's important to stay active and stay out there and to move forward and those types of things. The question is, to what degree? And at what point do you find that balance in your life? You know, there's really 5 key areas in your life you got to maintain balance. And financial is just one of them. You know, your business is just one of them. Your family is important, your spiritual life is important, your physical and mental health is important, and you've got to take care of all these areas in your life. And if you don't, if one of them is out of balance, they all end up out of balance.
What about the theory that you work really, really hard in the beginning and then you kind of, because that's what a lot of people tell in my industry, like you, for like a couple of months, you just forget about everything, you kind of...
Well, there is some truth to, if you'll work for 5 years like nobody else is willing to, you can live the rest of your life like no one else can. There is some truth to that. That being said, I'm not a big believer in the school of thought that I'm going to, it's the old school thought of, I'm going to work for 40 years and work really, really hard, and then I'm going to get my pension and my retirement, and I'm going to live a good life on my retirement and my Social Security and whatever. And I think we've all come to realize that doesn't work so well. Mm-hmm. And I've tried retirement a couple of times, and it didn't work for me. And it wasn't because I couldn't afford it. It was because human beings, especially those of us that are driven, can't sit idle for long and really feel fulfilled. And so I don't know if you've ever read the 4-Hour Work Week by Tim Ferriss. Yeah. A lot of people have read that book. It's a great book. Tim's got some great insights in there. Now, I'm not about a 4-hour work week, but I am about a 3-day work week. I work about 3 to 3.5 days a week, and I balance my time off with work, so I feel like I'm retired.
Right, but when you said that you worked your butt off at the beginning, right? Calling the leads, it wasn't like 3-day work at the beginning.
The reality is, they say it takes 10 years to master whatever your career is or whatever, and you can shortcut that in a lot of ways. Mm-hmm. There is some truth to the fact that you're going to work harder in the beginning, and you're going to have to spend a lot of time building something up. I guess the place that I would challenge the theory is, rather than thinking I'm going to work really hard and then retire and be hands off, work really, really hard and then just create a little extra balance in your life and take a little bit of that personal time back. Mm-hmm. Now, in the process of working really, really hard, never let your family suffer. That's one of the things that I see a lot of people go through, is they'll spend tons and tons of time on the road. I used to be we were talking about this earlier. Mm-hmm. I used to be the 3 week a month, and sometimes I was gone. I've been on road trips speaking and teaching that lasted 5 weeks, but I was away from my family. Man, let me tell you, that it was wrong of me to do that, and it took me some time to realize that I was hurting my family in ways that were, that if I didn't change immediately, were never going to be recoverable. Mm-hmm. And so, even in that building phase, it's important to take time for you and for your family.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So, do you want to share the secrets in the book?
Well, if I shared the secrets in the book with you, you wouldn't have to read it, right?
Okay, but pique interest.
I'll tell you what. Bob and I and
it says top secrets to winning big in business and life.
Yeah, it's a great book, and it's not just Bob and I are just 2 of the authors in the book. There's actually several other authors in the book as well, and there's some great insights from some very, very powerful people in several different industries. I think really kind of the premise of the book is the game's changed. It's not the same game that existed 5-10 years ago. Everything is different. The landscape is different now, and we have to adjust with it. And it really talks about kind of what are the new rules of the game. What are the things that have changed, and how do I succeed in today's world without sacrificing my life?
Okay, but like a little bit.
I'll tell you, one of the things is outsourcing. That's one of the things we talk a lot about in the book is in making sure that you're not the only one doing the work. You've got to leverage your time mm-hmm. with that of others. Mm-hmm. And outsourcing is key to that. We hire people all over the world. Literally. We do hire out of the Philippines. Sometimes we hire out of India, but we're hiring people in London and in Europe and South Africa. all over. Mm-hmm. And they're very, very talented people, and they allow us to, one, pay a lot less for our employees, mm-hmm. and they also allow us to have more freedom. I can run my business from any part of the world now. I don't have to be here because I don't have an office here that I have to deal with. My office is the world. My office is the internet. It's in the cloud. Mm-hmm. And that's where things are going. Everything's cloud-based now. Anybody that's still working with pen and paper and sitting in an office somewhere probably needs to analyze, is there a way that I can get this virtual? Is there a way I could be working in the cloud?
And then you avoid the expense of having an office and having staff and all that. Could you cover a little bit about, obviously outsourcing is wonderful, mm-hmm. but there are some areas where people can find outsourcing themselves through some websites.
Yeah.
How is your company is different?
Our company is, and there's lots and lots of places that people can go online and just, like you said, classified ads almost for virtual assistants. And that's kind of the Walmart approach to virtual assistants. And, if I want to get a cheap pair of tube socks, I'll go to Walmart. If I want to buy a nice suit, I'm going to go to Nordstrom's. And so it's really, there's a difference between the quality that you get. And one of the things that we do is we do all that searching and vetting, and we go through hundreds and hundreds of resumes and interviews for each position. Then we go through a round of testing where we test their skills and their internet connection speed and their English and their typing, and then we do a DISC personality profile. We actually use, Tony Robbins has a great personality profile on his website that we use with every applicant that comes through. Then we do another round of interviews voice to voice with them, and we really get it down to who is that right fit for that client, who is the best virtual assistant for this client and for their needs. And that's something most people don't have the knowledge or skill or desire to go through that entire process to get to that right person, so we do it for them.
And then you said that you offer some free trial?
We do. We give them, with every placement that we make where someone's going to use this person for at least 10 hours a week, we give them their first week on me. So I'll actually pay for their VA for the first week so that you can get a chance to get to know this person and see, hey, are they the right fit for my team? And if they're not, call me up. I'll get rid of them and I'll get you a different one so that we know that whoever you end up with long term is truly the right fit for your team.
Is there like a contract that they have to sign, or?
We have an agreement that we sign, but it doesn't lock them in at all. They can cancel at any time. So there's no long-term commitment whatsoever.
Okay. Yeah. And where can they find you?
It's actually pretty simple. Just jump on virtualassistantstaffing.com.
Okay.
And at virtualassistantstaffing.com we can get connected, and believe it or not, I actually talk with a good portion of our clients. So there's a form on that site that you would fill out, and someone on my staff would give you a call and say, hey, I'd like to learn more, and good chance they'll put you on the phone with me at some point. We've got an event coming up in March for a lot of the top agents around the country will be here. We're bringing in a lot of the top real estate speakers for that event as well. And so I'll be talking about, how I was doing 100 transactions a month in my real estate business and how they can kind of duplicate that success. And then we'll have some other phenomenal speakers. I can't share their names just yet. We want to keep some of them a secret. We're not sure who we're gonna bring in some surprise speakers, and we're bringing in a couple of speakers that. Let's just say, if you live in America today, you know who these people are, and so.
I feel the sun is like. I think it's gonna like.
It's bright behind you.
Yeah, I think it's gonna interfere with.
Put a little shadow behind you. That may be.
Yeah, but that's fine. Something else I wanted to. I saw the video where you said where you were like, "Are you ready to do the transaction?" Could you share that?
You're talking about, I'm trying to remember which one you're talking about.
So that people don't resist you when you close the transactions, you cannot do the handshake.
I do. There's a little NLP or neuro-linguistic programming involved in a lot of
That's the event I'm going to go to with the neuro-linguistic.
Who's teaching?
Michael Burnoff.
Okay, yeah, I know Michael. Okay, so NLP or neuro-linguistic programming is really more about how you say it rather than what you're saying. There is some of what you say has to do with neuro-linguistic programming as well, but a lot of it has to do with what you say. And so my closing line when I was selling real estate, I always had the same. When I was ready for them to sign the paperwork, I would always simply say, "Are there any other questions before we get started on the paperwork?" Mm-hmm. And you're fighting it right now. I can see that you're deliberately you're doing this because but if you didn't know what I was doing, you would be doing this as well. Okay. And you would naturally say, "No, there are no other questions." And I'd say, "Fantastic, let's get started on the paperwork."
Right. Any other secrets that the strategies you want to share in the video?
There's some great tips and some great dialogues that you can use that really do help to kind of disarm people, and you want to be genuine about it. Don't do anything that's canned just for the sake of getting to the point, getting them where you want to get them. That's not about that. You really want to bring value to people when your heart's in the right spot and you're truly focused on bringing value to them, and then you use some of these techniques to kind of help add that value. that's good. Then your heart's in the right spot. One of the things that I always do when I'm following up with people, I'll always use the phrase, I just want to make sure I'm not dropping the ball on my end. And the reason I'll say that is because, one, I want to make sure I'm not dropping the ball on my end. It's important. I want to know that I'm following up and I'm doing my job properly and that I'm taking care of my client. Also, it's very disarming. When you say that to a client, it's extremely disarming, and they'll generally respond with, oh, no, Michael, it's not you. I'm so sorry. I haven't gotten back to you. I really appreciate you following up with me, blah, blah, blah. That's funny. Oh, now I gotta get the whole posture thing going on?
Yeah.
Just come from the couch, just sucks your head in.
Yeah. It's like,
I know, seriously.